Let's get right into this review, man.
All right, so we just finished The Boys season 2 on Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
Amazon Prime flexing on everybody, giving us that adult premiere superhero live action series that everyone's for the most part is digging and everyone's talking about it. I definitely have to say they definitely expanded upon their subject material for this season, man. Everything from like political views to the characters to the agendas of certain characters. This shit grew to me organically in a way where season one, how am I to say it? Season one set the tone, and then season
Hmm.
two really carried the torch to the next level, in my opinion. And what do you think, man? Season two overall.
Well, I agree with you because the main thing I think that this show has going for it is that they know what pocket that they're trying to fit into.
Right,
They're not trying to do more than what they need to do, right? In
right.
terms of the characters, in terms of what they're doing, world building, all of these things that we've already talked about before, they give you just enough, right? So it's a situation where, yes, they give you the vulgarity, they give you the violence, they give you some graphic material, but it's never to the point where it's too much.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You're just satisfied enough to where it doesn't take away from the story that they're actually trying to tell. They
Mm,
could have easily have made this show as graphic and dirty and nasty as they wanted it to be and still probably appealed to that same demographic. But the fact that they've been careful with just how much of that they want to give you, I think is the real charm behind this show. You know what I mean? You're not
yeah.
getting full. You're not even down to it being 8 episodes for season 1 and season 2. You're not getting too much of it. There's enough of it there to keep you satisfied to want to see more, but also not overloading you with what it is that they're trying to get across. And for now, I think that works in their favor very heavily
Mm,
because season 1 ended and it was like, damn, ah man, like let me see what's going on next year, right?
right.
Season 1 started, you were like, all right, cool. Season 1 just started. I'm ready to invest this time. 8 weeks later, at the end of season 2, you feel the same way that you felt at the end of season 1. Like, damn, man, I need to see more of this right here. There's no sensory overload in terms of comedy, drama, all of these feelings that you get watching the show because it doesn't overstay its welcome. And I think for now, that's one of the better things that the boys has going for it.
This isn't shock value, the TV show featuring
Mm-hmm.
superheroes. They
Mm-hmm.
gave you just enough at the right, precise moment to give it the full effect. Because the comic is a lot more graphic, it's a lot more sensationalized than what's portrayed in the TV show. And the comic is great source material, obviously, because we wouldn't have had such a great cast of characters and a great storyline without that source material. So big kudos on the original creator and Dynamite for publishing the thing in the first place. But I think you got Butcher versus Homelander that really glues the series together, with Butcher and Homelander being almost a warped version of Batman versus Superman. I'm not sure if
Hmm.
people kind of caught
That's
on to that a
interesting.
little bit. Yeah, yeah, it's they're almost the same. They have similarities to where it's like, damn, one move or one action could have made Butcher precisely more in tune of Homelander. So I think Butcher versus Homelander is what glues the drama together in the end, because whenever it went away a little bit from those two, whenever it went to story B or story C, I'm not saying the quality dropped drastically to where you felt it, but the tension and the drama and the stakes were at its best when it was pretty much when it was a little bit of a chess match between those two characters and what
Right.
one did to the other and how one affected each other's life and etc. And I think that dynamic in this season really reached a point in the finale. Spoiler alert, we're doing the review, so all spoilers in this shit. So if you ain't watch it by now, fuck it. Episode 8, when Homelander's son Ryan decided to go with the Butcher. I mean, that dynamic of him losing his son, losing that little bit of connection to humanity and that
Mm-hmm.
love and organic love that he wanted and wanted to provide was lost to Butcher. That was like almost like a one up saying, yeah, I mean, you got my wife, you fucked up
But
my
I
life,
but I got your son.
and it's almost like he leveled the playing field a bit there. He evened up, even though his loss of Becca was huge. He evened up and he kind of equaling that pain back to Homelander. There's not a lot of characters. There's not a lot of actions you can do to Homelander where it's gonna really cause more pain to him than to you. And this was one of those actions that did give Homelander something to his core. I liked the Deep still catching L's. 2 seasons in a row now. The Deep still catching L's, man. And
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's a continued commentary of how we view Aquaman. What do you think?
Oh man.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
first, before I answer that question, I'm gonna ask you another question.
All right, go ahead, man.
Do you feel bad for that character in his overall arc? Do you have any sympathy for that character based on the fact that you've seen what we've seen and the things that have actually happened to him? Do you have any sympathy for the character?
Watching the series, I don't really have any feelings for him in his current circumstances. I don't. I didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, Deep didn't even up in the season. Like I was like, oh shit, well, tough luck for him. It's all he's like one of those characters, almost like a pity train, so to speak, like a character that just can't get what he wants in the end. I thought it was cool that A Train maneuvered himself to a better position this season because it was like, well, what the hell are they doing with A Train? But it seems like the Deep just really relies on. He doesn't really have it within him for that lifestyle anyway. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really have it within him for that superhero celebrityism that he wants, and he wants to get that
Right.
attention, wants to get that notoriety within the public, and he
So
doesn't.
what you
He just doesn't have it within him.
right. So what you're saying is that he has no backbone.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. He got no backbone. He literally went
Right.
to a Scientology church and said, "Can you help me?" And so, I mean, you can see with the way he interacted with his characters. I mean, with other characters, he literally was like, "Oh fuck A Train. I don't know A Train like that. A Train did that." You know what I'm saying? And then the Arrow Hawkeye copycat talking about that's my buddy, and then the church dismissed him. And he's like, "Oh, that's not my friend. We weren't cool to begin with." So the fact that he's able to just bury other people so fast for his own gain is probably just karma. Just keep coming at him, and maybe that will change for season 3. But there's that repeat of using others around him, using Starlight that bites him in the ass, and
Mm-hmm.
then someone like the Arrow character, the Hawkeye guy, whatever, helping him out reach a certain plateau, and then dismissing him as well, and then
Right.
getting A Train to the table, and then whenever A Train has seemed to bring him down, he's very easily he'll discard you in a heartbeat to get back to that spot, and he's spineless. He's spineless for that. So I got no sympathy for the Deep man. Honestly, he's one of the characters so I don't really care to see for season 3. I'll be honest with
Well,
you. What about you?
he's I mean, he isn't going anywhere. He's definitely
Yeah.
going to be sticking around. What I would say is that for that character, I think he is the example on the show of karma. While every other character on the show may be getting what is coming to them later on,
Hmm.
he's the example of instant karma.
You're right about
He's
that.
literally the example, the definition of instant karma. Something you see the immediate effect of it. And part of that is because he's not a genuine person. And
Mm.
it could be because he's not actually committed to any singular thing, right?
Yeah,
You
he's
have
everywhere.
right, exactly. You have characters on the show who might not necessarily be good people, but they're at least committed to a cause to where they don't flip flop. A character like the Deep on the show, you see when things don't go his way, he's really the guy that's going to jump ship quickest because he was never all the way in it to begin with. I'm not a fan of the character, but I do think he serves a purpose because seeing him catch those L's constantly back to back, seeing him in pursuit of the thing that he wants, but not going about it the right way, serves, I think, as a reminder to the viewer that even though somebody may have superpowers, even though someone might have an ability that the normal person doesn't have, don't go about things the right way, if you're not committed to what it is that you're doing, you're going to end up in the same spot where you started. And literally, this guy thought he had changed his life, but didn't change the way that he went about doing things and still ends up in the same spot where he started. He was actually better off before he went down that road that he went down in season 2.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's justice right there, dude. That is justice. Oh, man, that's good analysis right there, man. One of the things I think was fun this season, particularly, was the commercialism of superheroes. You got someone like Queen Maeve coming out party being
Oh
her whole
man.
character. We
Yep.
got the Brave Maeve Rainbow Veggie Burger being sold. I mean,
Holy shit. Yeah,
rainbow
man.
colored ice cream, the movie. Yeah, I thought I was making some good light fun of basically some tropes that certain characters have where, characters gay and then pretty much that's the character that they're gay. And that's all that there is to that character. It's like, oh, we got a gay character in our show, or we got a gay character in this comic. And all you can talk about is their sexuality. You can't really talk about the character or their virtues or what they like, etc. So
Yep.
for Bot to milk her like that, milk her dry.
Oh man.
Oh
To
man,
where
milk her dry.
right,
Yep.
right. Like to the point where by the end of the season, she was doing things to intentionally go against the way they branded.
Yeah, enough of that shit, man. So I thought Maeve was some cool commentary on just being a celebrity and spotlight in Hollywood and all that jazz. Um,
Exploitation.
exploitation. Yes, yes.
So let's get into the big dog here, right?
Okay.
Let's get it. Let's talk about your man Homelander for a second, man, right? Because it's crazy because on the surface, it's easy to write off Homelander as being a knockoff Superman, right?
Right.
Very easy to do that if you don't kind of pay attention to the character. If you don't look at the details and the layers of what makes him different from every other riff, interpretation, whatever you want to call it, into characters who are inspired by Superman, right?
Right.
I find the character of Homelander to be interesting on a couple different levels. In season 1, you've seen a guy who you seen a guy who was bred to be perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the point of insanity because he doesn't know how to do anything besides what it is that he was made to do. His interactions with people, he views people, are all based on his perception of being perfect. So, by default, because every other person he comes across is not equal to him, he automatically can't relate to them, right?
Yep.
And by not being able to relate to them, that ruins any chance of having any type of relationship. In season 1, and it sucks because I can't remember what the female character's name was that was basically like his handler, his mother, all of that, right? I don't remember her name. But in season one, the dynamic between the two of them is that she was the one that kept him in line. She was the one that reminded him at every turn that he was perfect. In turn, it's almost like he viewed her the same way. He didn't end up killing her until he found out that she was lying to him. You're no longer perfect the way that I thought you were, so you're no longer my equal. So you got to go. There's no more room for you in my life because we can't relate to each other. You know, he
Yeah.
finds out that he has a son in the season one. That carries over into season two. You see, up until another character on the show kind of reinforces the fact that he's perfect. Before that happened, before he was reassured that by someone else, he was almost on the edge of breaking.
Yeah, he was multiple times.
He was
Yeah.
right there on that edge in between making the choice of doing something that can't be undone until somebody told him, no, this is really who you are. It's just an interesting situation to me that you have a character that can basically do anything that he wants to do. There's nothing that Homelander, within the context of that show, can't do. But the only way he actually believes it is if somebody else tells him.
Damn. Yeah. And cause of that, probably his upbringing, that childhood that he didn't have, essentially.
Now, my question for you is, knowing that about the character, right? The only
Mhm.
person who actually knows that is him. But knowing that as the viewer, do you feel that Homelander is actually a bad guy, or is he misguided in thinking that he's the only one that can do something, or that the only way something could ever be done is the way that he wants to do it? Is he an actual bad guy?
Oof, is he actually a bad guy? I'd have to say he's more misguided than bad guy. You see that he does have certain limits when it comes to his actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Stormfront talked about white genocide to his son,
Man,
raised the eyebrow like, what the fuck is she talking about? You know?
right? Like, this is my kid right here.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. Or even in the sense of like, if he was a straight up bad guy, he would have more in the line of duty being killed
Mm-hmm.
in his saving. But I think it's just his upbringing, them trying to breed a perfect stone cold American pie eating national hero,
Right.
and him living up to that, and that is his definition of his life. He needs the approval of others. He needs to have that comfort of I'm number one, I'm the top dog, and I'm getting what he wants is that's all he wants because that's all he knows. So I think he's more misguided rather than just a straight up bad. If he was just a straight up bad guy, he wouldn't be as interesting as he is. If he was just
Right.
a straight up bad guy, it was just killing people left and right, he would just be Superman from Injustice 2. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He would,
Because,
yeah.
yeah, man, because I think, like you were saying, it's a situation where I don't even think he cares enough about regular human beings to want to kill him. You see what I'm saying? He
Hmm.
doesn't care enough about human beings in that, human beings aren't perfect. Human beings are flawed, right? He
Right.
doesn't even care enough to want to wipe everybody out. He's not interested in that. That's not his actual game. He's more interested in being loved than feared in a
Hmm.
lot of certain respects. And that's the most interesting thing to me because most villains, most characters who are positioned as being overpowered bad guys that can do whatever they want don't care about being loved. They would rather be feared than loved than the opposite. Homelander is the first villain that I've seen across most mediums that would rather be loved than be feared. And that in itself makes the character interesting to me. Yeah, and even there's points throughout the series where, prime example, when they assemble, pardon the pun, but when they assemble to try to take down the threat, he feels a sense of actual duty in wanting to carry out the task, even
Mm-hmm.
though he's not actually going to bring somebody to justice. But the fact that he's actually able to eliminate a perceived threat is something that matters to him. If he was just completely off the deep end, that kind of situation wouldn't even matter. He wouldn't care about actually saving people. But the flip side to that is the only reason he cares about saving people is to in turn redirect the love and attention back to him.
I think there was a moment in this series where Stormfront mentioned him, no more movie premieres, and he actually looked kind of like, oh damn, like I actually really like the movie premieres. Like he wants,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he wants that attention. He loves it. I mean, he needs that love, and that's the only thing he thrives on to a degree because he never had it as a child,
Yep.
and he never had it in his upbringing. I think that was a nice decision, kind of for season two, was for having his son being sort of almost a similar situation where you're fighting
Mm-hmm.
for the heart and mind of a kid who could turn into another Homelander or worse. He could be
Right.
better for good or for worse. He could be worse than his dad. You know what I'm saying?
And yes, and with the way that the season actually ended, right? And
Hmm.
what ended up actually transpiring as a result of his son having abilities, you know, it kind of looks like that's something that could happen down the road, unintentionally, but
Hmm.
at the same time, Homelander ended up the way that he ended up unintentionally as well.